Hello and welcome to the 19th BOH Cameronian Arts Awards on set. I am Sabrina Hassan and I'd like to welcome on set the nominees for Best Director in the Theatre category. Welcome, Kamini and Adriana.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you.
If your life was a play, what would the title be?
It'll be very long though, so you have to forgive me. I'd rather die standing than always live on my knees.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
so fierce.
Yeah.
Yes. Would it be? Yes. Would it be a comedy or a musical?
Yeah, I
What do you
don't
think?
think it'll be a musical, but it will just be like quite chaotic with like a rather chaotic protagonist. Yeah. So like the title would be like, people might be like, oh, it's so serious, but actually it's quite like self-deprecating, but also wholesome. Yeah.
I'll give some context first lah. I think my story would be about a big Tamil family because I have a big Tamil family on my dad's side. And so I think the name would be keeping up with the Kardashians.
So would that be a comedy?
My family is a comedy lah, yeah. So probably.
That does sound like a play, actually. Yes. Cool. Adriana, why, as Fault Lines was your first play that you produced and wrote, why Ghafir Akbar as director?
I feel like being cheeky and being like, I'm not Ghafir Akbar, in case anybody was wondering, because he's the actual nominee. Why Ghafir? I think, and this is a lesson I've learnt in theatre with working on Fault Lines, is that you have to be very, very. It's an art and a science, like choosing your collaborator and choosing your director. And although in my day-to-day, I'd like to think that I'm somebody who's like, you don't have to be of the same cultural background to be able to work together. But for this play and for theatre, I think, or maybe like the kind of plays maybe that I like to write and work on in theatre, it's very important to have somebody who understands the cultural point of view. Ghafir ticks so many boxes, really. Because we worked together initially, he was within the capacity of an actor for the first reading way back 5 years ago now. And I remember as I was working with him, I realized that, hey, Ghafir's, Malaysian, grew up in KL, English speaking, he's in theatre. He lived a significant amount of his youth, his adolescence in the US. He's Muslim, and I was like, wow, yeah, and that's what it really was, a real light bulb moment. And I think it's because he just, those are of course the exterior, like the checklist stuff, but of course him and his craft, that's a separate topic, and his command of his craft. But that was really the defining, I think, reasons where I chose him, because I was like, you get it. And I think when you say you get it as a playwright, right, it's like, you know what, Ghafir, I don't need to turn up at rehearsals, and you won't suddenly change it into something where it's like, no, this is not what I meant. You would get the cues, you would get the nuances. So that's why it was Ghafir. Yeah.
Kamini, what was it like working with Kelvin?
Yeah, I've worked with Kelvin once before, and his style of working is very methodical and it's very planned out, which is very much how I like to work and how creatively I am able to give my best also. He breaks the rehearsal process down into different segments. So the first one will be build, the next one will be sculpt, and then it's chisel. And all of these are words used to describe the devising process, because actually you really start with nothing much beyond the concept. And I think it really does take a methodical approach to devising to ensure a product that is grounded to the theme that we initially started off with. So personally, I like the way Kelvin works, and I think he's very also, he's very good at bringing out the best in his actors, I feel. And I felt very supported because I was also writing for the first time. So, yeah.
I think, that is a mark of a good director.
I think so.
Where the cast, the people in the production are comfortable.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
for
Comfortable to
sure.
play,
Yeah.
comfortable to explore, comfortable to comfortable to just be. Yeah, that really is. So when talking about food, right? What were the similarities that you discovered, like within the Malaysian culture that we all have?
I think in terms of just on a general note, I think all of us love Malaysian food so much, and I think that we have this very endearing like passion for our food, so I think that came across when we were devising. In terms of the specific elements of similarities, we realized that there were some things that were very common, like even just things like rice, that kind of all of us probably are rooted in something where we have all come from the same place, like essentially, and those were some of the things that we noticed. We also explored some of the myths surrounding food in each of our individual cultures, and there were similarities there. Those were the things that we recognized. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Adriana, as playwright, right? How did you let go?
Oh, that's a good question. Have I let go by even now? I think once the rehearsal started, I think when people started hitting the floor, right, and it was good to let go. Was it easy? No, and I think this is just generally like I don't see it necessarily as a flaw. Even it's just like I know this is something maybe I have to manage. When I work on something, when I'm the playwright, just time and just having and then seeing people, the care that was being put in by everyone, and then you just say, okay lah, I guess my kid, like this little thing that I put together is safe, and I think I just trusted. And again, I think it's also a testament to the people that we worked with, such as yourself and the other cast members and Ghafir. Because I remember remember that last scene, the letter scene. There was questions where at one point he was thinking of like having it being completely silent, right? And it was going to be just projected on screen, the words. And then in the rehearsal room, he looked at me. He was like, "But I don't think Adriana would be okay with that." And I looked at him and I smiled. Yeah, you're right. I would not be okay with that. And so and I share this more of a like, you choose the right collaborators, and you get the right person. There's a level of trust because it's a privilege really to be a playwright. It's a privilege because compared to, the other art form that I've heard it being compared to is like writing for film, for example. Like in theatre, like the playwright has really like the commanding and the determining like word, like you get to decide, and you're like the person who decides like whether you're okay or not with the way something is treated. So I think in that capacity, and at the same time, I'm not an experienced playwright, so I also bring in my insecurities and my like, no. But when you choose the right collaborators, and you got to trust them, because like I'm not a better actor than any of the cast members. I'm not a better director than Ghafir. I'm not a better set designer than Raja Malay. So you just need to, I think, with time and space. It just worked out. My personality is like I'm not very, I don't let go of things easily, but I think it was a maturing and learning experience, and that's what really helped.
In Come Home and Eat, you guys use blocks, right?
Yeah.
So how was that choreographed, and how you as performers, did you remember where everything went?
Sometimes in the rehearsal process, we were asked to, okay, you have this amount of minutes, and these are the tools that you have to showcase. So sometimes it came out in the rehearsal process where people decided that these are these many blocks that we're going to use, and this is how I'm using them. So the individual person, if it's their monologue or whatever, they saw it in their minds, and then they brought it to the stage. Other times, it was Calvin's idea to use the boxes in a particular way. For example, in the first monologue, which is my monologue relating to cooking during Pongal, I believe it was Calvin's idea to use the boxes as the vessel to cook in. So that was Calvin's idea. In terms of remembering where everything was, that was extensive rehearsal and just really being clear about what you needed to do, where you needed to go, and how you were required to place the scene for the next play to come on. So that took discipline, and it took.
It was very technical.
Yes, it's technical. Yeah. Just being a good actor and scene mate for your next
For your
the next
castmate,
scene.
yes.
Yeah, for the next. Yeah.
How important is criticism to you?
Kami, you want to go?
Okay.
Is it important?
I think it's essential to making good work that can resonate with people, and I think to a certain extent there are certain rules that we need to follow or should follow in order to ground the work, and sometimes it takes a third party to look at it and say, hey, this is not working, because sometimes when you write, you're so close to the work. I'm sure you know that, Edie. And so it's very difficult, especially like for something like Come Home and Eat, where it's our personal stories and we as actors are not actually playwrights. We can be too close to the stories, and so everything feels too precious. And anything can seem like a personal attack, but I think you have to kind of be real with yourself and say that in order to put out good work, there needs to be criticism, and also because there's this intrinsic trust with your castmates and with your directors, you have to know that everybody what is best for the show, and you have to trust that and let go then.
Immediately, like two levels of criticism came to mind. I think an in-house critic, which would be a dramaturg, I feel. And then there's like the writers, the arts writers, the reviewers, right, who then might write their own like critiques. I think they're both essential, definitely. We talked a little bit earlier, right, about self-indulgence, right? I think they're a prong of that, a pillar of that. I think if I had to choose, I think just because in foregrounding process, a dramaturg would be more important than like an external critic, like art piece.
Have you received like a piece of criticism that was like very useful for you?
Dramaturgically, we didn't have an official dramaturg, but we had a few like beta readers, and during the workshopping process, even the cast members, Ghafir definitely gave a lot of criticism in the sense, and it's actually interesting like how you live through the experience. Where talking about being precious about certain things, right? Once we hit the rehearsal room, Ghafir was like, "Dah apa this line? Take away lah, I'm okay," and then I think that comes with a trust with time, where you know that it's not coming from a like, I want to make you look slightly lesser than you are, it's more of like, I don't understand, like, why would he say this? Check it out lah. And again, credit to Ghafir, the way he would ask it was always an option. If I were like, there were certain times I was like, no, I really want this line and it has to be here, then it's okay. But at the same time, there were certain times where he was like, I don't know why he would say this, and then I'm like, okay, then you can take it away. And just that back and forth, it's very process driven, very interpersonal as well, like the dynamic, right, with your collaborator. So where was I? Yes, so I have received those pieces of criticism, and also my thinking about critic as an in-house critic, dramaturg, and like arts review. I think arts writing and reviewing is essential, to be very honest, especially given the transient nature of theatre, right? It's like boop, blink and it's gone, and you didn't catch it, and you want to know more, and you want it to have a life beyond its staging. So there's that, and also dramaturgy. So the lovely world of theatre and the different roles we can play.
I don't think that there sometimes is unhelpful criticism, and I think it takes a level of experience, maturity, to be able to see what is helpful for you and what is not, and to let go of what is not. And eventually actually also to let go of praise, because we do what we can, and then we move on to the next thing.
Well, that's very true, really. Like, what is making you run around in circles and lose it and be unground yourself almost, right? And what is like, wow, this is a perspective I didn't consider.
Exactly.
Cosign.
Well, thank you both for being here with us.
Thank you.
And for sharing. Congratulations again on the
Thank you.
nominations.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.